Now, I advise everybody to read the arrest affidavit of Barry Morphew for themselves. It's really interesting. And you forget what you know, and you forget what you might maybe have a little bit wrong. And not only that, it is really interesting. And we can serve ourselves well and the people we're going to be communicating with about Suzanne Morphew and her story. We can serve ourselves well by having some actual knowledge. And today in the live, I think before that I'd reviewed up to about page 18, and then I did this live, and then I just went on to read some of these pages as I was walking the doggo, and I thought, oh look, this is so, I'm just going to give you a little taster and read a few pages and hopefully inspire you to get a copy and read it yourself. If you'd rather be read to, no matter what you think of her, Mommy Ramblings does have some talents, and she read the entire thing in one sitting. I believe it's a 9-hour live. You will find it on Mummy Ramblings channel, and you can listen to it that way. Okay, I think it was this that she read. There's probably other things as well. So page 19 of 129. Barry's 2 email accounts are blank and blank. Barry stated that Suzanne typically wakes up and has coffee. Remember, there was a coffee cup with an old bit of coffee in it. She reads her Bible and emails. She then rides her mountain bike around their neighborhood and then does other things around the house. And now what do we know? Jeff Libler told us that she doesn't ride around her neighborhood and that she likes to go elsewhere and then ride in the afternoon. I had wondered, had she changed the routine and said she was going for a bike ride because of her friend's daughter's online wedding that she wanted to watch, and maybe it was better just to get some exercise out of the way in the morning, but so interesting. Anyhow, I'll just read. Actually, I'll keep interjecting. On occasion, Suzanne rode the Methodist Trails area. So he knows that she does go out and ride various trails areas. Barry further explained that on Saturdays she virtually attended their church, Salida Grace. So by virtually, remember this is COVID, things were watched online. He continues, the service is broadcasted on YouTube and generally lasts about 1 hour. Barry stated that he typically works until about 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. and returns home. They have dinner and he usually goes to bed around 9 p.m. Barry stated they typically sleep in the same bed. However, if he is snoring, he will sleep in the bonus room on the couch. I did wonder if Suzanne had retired to Mallory's room to get away from Barry on Saturday night, and maybe if Barry is guilty, because he might not be, okay, but if he is, he may have murdered her on Mallory's bed and then washed her sheets. Barry stated that Suzanne communicates daily via Snapchat with her best friend Sheila Oliver. Barry said they also communicate via text message. Barry stated Suzanne also communicates daily with blank, is typically home at the house, especially with the current school cancellation due to COVID-19. So maybe with Mallory, who was living up the road at Gunnison. Barry stated that blank, blank, and blank, best friend of blank, departed on or about May 5th or 6th, 2020 for a road trip to Utah and Idaho. They were due back May 10th, 2020. That's the daughters and a friend. Barry explained that in 2019, his company had been contracted to build a retaining wall at a site in Broomfield, Colorado. 2 of his contractors, Cassidy Cordova and Cody Cox, were tasked with the work. Barry said that the wall was not completed correctly and that he lost $30,000 because of it. Barry could not recall the name of the general contractor for the job. Barry stated that on Saturday, May 9th, 2020, he worked with Morgan Gentile on a job site in Salida. That's the Vanderveer River Beach site. The task was to complete a rock beach on the property. After this, Barry communicated with Suzanne by text message. They talked about hiking, and she later requested him to purchase hot tub chemicals. Those were found in her Range Rover. Barry stated his last message was from Suzanne. Barry stated his last message from Suzanne was between 11 a.m. and noon. Barry stated at around 2:26 p.m. he texted Suzanne and he was done and was headed home. Barry stated that sometime on Saturday, Suzanne asked him to take her mountain bike and helmet out of her vehicle. Isn't that interesting? Which he did. Now, did she specify this at all? And why would she say helmet, which she could get out herself? And why would she say helmet and not helmet and camelback, which was still in her Range Rover? But how convenient, okay. But maybe she did that often. See, it's not followed up. Maybe she did that often when she was going to do a local ride, which maybe sometimes she did do. Anywho, Barry stated that he cooked steaks out on the grill and they never even looked at the clock that night. He added, "It's actually one of the best nights we've had in a while, actually, because there were no chemicals in Suzanne." He said they put their phones aside. Barry explained that on Saturday evening they had dinner together, had sexual intercourse and went to bed. Barry could not specify a time but believed it was around or after 8 p.m. Barry stated neither him or Suzanne left the residence again. Barry stated that he was scheduled to travel to Broomfield on May 10 to get eyes on the site and fully determine what was needed. Barry stated Morgan was supposed to travel to Broomfield that evening and Cassidy was due to arrive Monday morning. And before you say anything about staying that evening, well, he was heading back, wasn't he? And she would take over his hotel room that he'd booked. In the end, I think Jeffrey Puckett stayed in that room and discovered some documents in a waste paper basket. Barry stated that he preloaded his truck on Saturday night. Well, we know there was a lot of movement with the truck. Barry explained he set his alarm for 4:30 on Sunday, May 10, 2020. Barry stated he awoke to his alarm at 4:30 a.m., explained that when he awoke, Suzanne was still asleep in the master bed, stated he heard her snoring, said he showered and left the house at about 5 a.m. Barry said he last saw Suzanne wearing white shorts and a white string-type shirt. Barry stated that he travelled on Highway 50 to Highway 285. He travelled 285 to E470, north to I-76, and then on to US 36. He went directly to Holiday Inn and checked in. He said he went into the room for a short period of time and rested after the drive. Explained he then went over to the work site. After looking at the site, called Morgan and requested her to bring another person, and she called Jeff Puckett. Barry stated that he was at the job site at 10 o'clock-ish. He added, "It was just hotel and job back and forth." He drove to a McDonald's near the job site and cleaned his windshield. He then went back to the hotel room. He stayed in the room for about an hour and possibly watched television, then returned to the job site. In response to the question if he ate that day, "I kind of looked for something to eat," he said. He said that he always keeps granola bars in the truck. He said, "I saw a McDonald's pulled in there. I don't like crap food, so I thought I'm not going to eat there." He added, "So I just ended up eating granola bars." While on the job site, Barry explained that his neighbour, Jean Ritter, called him and explained Mallory still could not reach Suzanne. Jean, who had the access codes for the house, so there you go, it wasn't an open garage door, she had some access codes, asked her to go check the house. So what we should assume, according to Barry and, is that maybe the doors had been opened by Suzanne in preparation to go somewhere. So while on the job site, Jean Ritter called him and explained it's blanked out, but it's Mallory, still could not reach Suzanne. Jean, who has access codes for the house, asked to go check the house. Jean discovered Suzanne's car was there, however her mountain bike was not. Barry stated he had texted Suzanne Happy Mother's Day earlier, as did their daughters. His daughters had not received any replies from Suzanne. Also, Barry stated there is no cellular service at the house unless the phone is on the HughesNet Wi-Fi internet service. Barry stated, I was at the job site when Jean called me, adding that Jean called around 5 p.m. Barry left the job site and drove to the hotel where he dropped off tools in the lobby. He then drove directly back to Salida. Initially, he said there were no issues with their marriage. Later in the interview, when asked, he disclosed that they did fight. He explained that Suzanne has battled through stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma several times in her life. Her most recent battle started late last year, 2019. Suzanne was receiving maintenance treatments at the Cancer Centre in Salida. He stated that Suzanne started using blank and alcohol. He means marijuana. He stated this drug and alcohol use would sometimes lead to arguments during which Suzanne would accuse him of being controlling. He described Suzanne's demeanour as hateful. He stated the last argument they had was Friday morning. He denied any physical abuse or altercations between Suzanne and him. He stated their daughters did not know about Suzanne's substance use and demanded that information not be disclosed to them. In fact, when asked, Barry admitted he deleted text messages from his cell phone because he did not want their daughters to access his phone and read those messages. A lot of statements here are sort of proven false. They're saying where he was when Jean called and things like that. So page 21. Other statements by Barry in this May 13 interview include, and I'm trying not to just read out all the Barry stated stuff because it's repetitive. Barry stated, I just know that there's nothing in my truck, there's nothing in my house. I know that for a fact, unless somebody came there Sunday morning after I left. That's all. I'm just being honest with you. They can be there for 10 weeks. They'll never find a single thing. But Barry interjected Cody Cox as a suspect, that Cox allegedly threatened to kill Barry. Because remember, Cody Cox, according to Barry, did screw up the wall and cost him $30,000, and that would really hurt Barry. And Barry fired Cody, and there's bad blood. Barry consistently throughout the interview questioned why he had not been cleared in the investigation. He initially identified the Cushman's cleaning lady's daughter and boyfriend as possible suspicious persons. He stated, because if somebody went in and did something and took her and then ditched her bike to make it look like something, then I want you guys to find that evidence. However, he states multiple times, there's nothing in the house, nothing in my truck. Barry stated, and she would get so angry sometimes and even hateful, which is not her. Barry stated during these arguments, Suzanne has stated, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to divorce you. And she doesn't mean it. I know she doesn't mean it, but in that state of mind. When asked about working on Sunday, he stated, it's Mother's Day. It's not like it's husband's day. Completely missing the point about leaving his wife alone on Mother's Day. He stated he stayed at, but to him, that's a rest from the job of her marriage, from her obligations and duties that she has to fulfill. When asked about working on Sunday, he stated he stayed at the worksite with the quote, I think I was there until probably 6 p.m. In regards to the calls to Jean Ritter, he stated she calls me and says, hey, her car is here. And I said, well, is her bike there? She goes, where does she keep the bike? And I said, well, I pulled it out of her car. It should be right near the car. She goes, there's no bike here. Unintelligible. Look here in the back. And I said, well, she's riding a bike. And I'm a little concerned because I think she said she was going to take a morning ride. In regards to, it's funny because some of it's not written, I'm just trying to read it how it's written. In regards to inspecting the clothing, Barry stated, yeah, she doesn't ride without a helmet, and she has a light blue helmet. Her favorite biking outfit is blue. I haven't been to the house to see if it's there or not, but if if you guys didn't find it, then that's probably what she was wearing. Was the blue one missing? Light blue helmet, light blue outfit. She's a matcher. Light blue shirt. Was that in her closet? Or did you guys find it? Remember AK rocks found at Foos's Dam? A blue biking shirt, and it had been really damaged by gravel and just by wear and tear. But the thing is, there's so many, and he said, police weren't really interested in coming and picking it up and seeing it in situ and getting it for, to see if it's related to Suzanne Morphew, which he was very upset about. So many people traipse by. There's millions of items of clothing all along that trail, and it goes right past their house, and I don't know. But yeah, that was very distressing for AK. Anywho, moving on. Regarding the bedding, Barry stated he observed sheets in the dryer. He stated, was her whole bed something? Because I wasn't in something's room. Was the whole bedding off? Okay, so Mallory's sheets, and he's asking about Mallory's sheets and saying he wasn't in that room. But, I'm wondering now, was Suzanne in that room? Did she run into that room maybe? I don't know. Barry was asked to voluntarily submit to a polygraph examination, which he declined and said he would think about. Said he didn't want to do anything that wasn't 100% accurate. He also said that they weren't admissible in court. Agent Cahill observed scratches on Barry's left upper arm. Barry stated, yeah, like that from a tree in when we were hiking in the mountains. Footnote says these injuries appeared to be healing, several days old scratches. Did they get a doctor's professional opinion on that? Continued. Barry's interview May 21st. On May 21, 2020, CBI agent Cahill and agent Derek Graham interviewed Barry for the purpose of reviewing the victimology packets of Suzanne that were prepared by Behavioral Analysis Unit, BAU, of the FBI. The interview was audio recorded. The following quotes were selected by Special Agent Grusing for this affidavit. Barry stated, I just wish that you knew how amazing she was. In quotes, in brackets they've put, referring to Suzanne in the past tense. Per Barry, Suzanne began to abuse antidepressants and alcohol to get away from the stress and anxiety of dealing with chemo and cancer. He said it's the only thing we argued about, and he cited text arguments. He added, when she was in that mind, it wasn't her. Barry said it was Suzanne, not him, who wanted to move from Indiana. Well, she probably wanted to follow her daughter and keep the family intact for a little bit longer. He stated, we, men, need sex. That's all we need, and we'll be good. Barry discussed the pills Suzanne took and how he begged her to stop taking them. He added that she got mean and angry. Barry stated that Suzanne had friends she kept from him, evidenced by her attempting to text someone and her saying it was none of his business, that it was private. Well, she was probably contacting Jeff Libler at the time. Barry said that Suzanne gave her passcodes to him and that he could access her phone, but it was very suspicious why she did not tell him about some of her communications. Barry said that he gave Suzanne $300 to $400 per week for spending. He said, "She never went to an ATM. Barry was the ATM." Regarding Barry leaving Suzanne alone on Mother's Day when she disappeared, he replied that his girls were supposed to come home, and I didn't feel bad because I thought they were going to be there around lunchtime. Barry stated that Suzanne's alcohol consumption increased after May the 6th when the girls left town and she did not have to hide the alcohol from blank, which would have been Macy. He said, "On Friday, I think we jumped in her car and went to Moonlight Pizza, got a pizza and a salad." He said that they ate pizza in the car and brought it home to eat. Maybe ate some of the pizza on the way home and ate the salads. He stated that Saturday, May the 9th, the morning, he got up early, probably had to put a few tools in my truck. This is the 9th. Remember, he's also packing tools in his truck on the Sunday, the 10th, for Broomfield, but he was going on the Saturday down to River Beach. Suzanne thanked him, this is May the 9th, thanked him for the breakfast and was perfectly normal, giving him a kiss goodbye, and everything was great. He told her he would be home soon and they could go bike riding or hiking or something. Barry added that it was a perfectly normal day and she was in a perfectly good mood. When asked if anything out of the ordinary happened, Barry said, "No, it was a perfect day, Saturday." When agents asked Barry if Suzanne had been drinking, he said that he did not pay much attention because he wanted to have a good night with her. Barry said that they grilled steaks and did not leave the house until after he got home that day. He said that he and Suzanne laid out on the patio in the sun. He said that she made soup for lunch. He left his phone alone because he wanted a nice evening with my wife. Suzanne talked to Barry that evening about purchasing a house in town for $800,000. He said that Suzanne was not on her phone that night that he knew of. When agents asked Barry if he and Suzanne went to bed together, he replied, "I'm pretty sure we do." And later, "I'm pretty sure we went to sleep together that night." Suzanne did not leave the house after they had sex and went to sleep. When asked by agents specifically if Barry used his phone and set his alarm for 4:30 on Sunday, he stated that, "Just wake up on my own without an alarm." CBI agents asked Barry why he answered sex as the number one reason why someone might be motivated to cause Suzanne to disappear on that, the BAU victimology questionnaire. He answered, "Because my wife is beautiful." He added, "And that's my nightmare right now, like if somebody's got her and sexually abusing her right now as we speak." Agents told Barry that workers who came to his hotel room following his May 10th departure commented that his room smelled like chlorine. He replied that he had no idea why and that maybe the hotel staff used it to clean because of COVID. Agents also told Barry that documents were left in the room and asked him if he took any documents into the room. He replied, "Not to my knowledge. There was somebody in the room after me. It could have been his." And that was Jeff Puckett he's referring to. When agents asked Barry, and we do know what those documents were. Agents also told Barry that the documents. When agents asked Barry why he did not pick up Morgan Gentile as agreed on Sunday for the ride to Broomfield, he stated, and remember she said he was idling outside her house. Maybe he did and thought differently of it because it might upset his alibi if that's what he's doing. Or, maybe he didn't want to talk and didn't want to share company because it wasn't premeditated, but maybe he has done something horrible and he didn't want to share the space in the car and need to talk, and drove off. But what he says is, I didn't want her to ride with me because she smokes. And I told her I wanted her to drive her car and she was just going to follow me. But what happened was he went there and then he's saying that she was going to go there that night. So, there could be apparent conversations that maybe they've had making those further arrangements. Anywho, yeah, it's interesting. I'll speak to you later.